Akane deploys her Snake Devil to take down the Ghost Devil. Katana Man informs her that the fiend has fled, but she reminds him that their objective is to retrieve Chainsaw Man's heart, and pursuing the fiend is unnecessary. Suddenly, the Ghost Devil's hand snatches Denji's cord, prompting him to transform into Chainsaw Man. He identifies Akane and Katana Man as the enemies and declares his affinity for battling villains since no one ever objects to their demise. Without hesitation, Chainsaw Man launches himself towards Katana Man, ready for a fight. Akane urgently reports that they're engaged in combat with Chainsaw on the third floor of the Narima building's west wing and calls for immediate backup. In the midst of the battle, Denji and Katana Man appear to be equally matched. Suddenly, two additional men arrive to reinforce Katana Man's team. He orders them to target Chainsaw Man's arms or heart, but Denji swiftly takes them down before they can attack. One of the men still manages to fire at Denji, prompting Denji to hold him hostage and warn Katana Man not to make any sudden moves. In response, Katana Man assumes his combat stance and, in one swift motion, bisects both Denji and the hostage. He picks up Denji by the handle on his head and reverts to his human form, confidently declaring that his Devil Hunter colleagues are likely already dead, as they cannot withstand gunfire. In another part of the city, a group of Division 4 members, including Hirokazu Arai, Fushi, and Makima, have been brutally gunned down. Despite the tragedy, Makima's train continues towards Kyoto, and her assailants plan to blend in with the crowds upon arrival. However, to their surprise, Makima suddenly rises from her seat. Meanwhile, Yutaro Kurose and Michiko Tendo wait anxiously for the train to arrive at the Kyoto station. As they discuss the fate of Special Divisions 1, 2, 3, and 4, which were recently ambushed in Tokyo, they ponder whether Makima has also been killed. Suddenly, the train pulls up, and people frantically run out in a state of terror. Then, Makima emerges from the train, drenched in blood, informing them of the grave situation that has occurred. Despite their concern, she assures them that the blood is not her own and that there are casualties that require immediate attention. Upon investigating the train, they discover that her attackers have all been killed. Yutaro and Michiko approach Makima with concern about the situation in Tokyo and whether she should return. Makima, however, assures them that it's too late and that the attackers are probably after Denji. She decides to stay in Kyoto and handle the situation from there. She asks Yutaro to gather 30 convicts serving life sentences or worse, while she instructs Michiko to rent a nearby shrine at the highest altitude and fetch some clean clothes for her. The convicts are provided with food during transportation but are kept in the dark about their destination. Upon arriving at the shrine, Makima changes into fresh clothes. Michiko notifies her of the convicts' arrival, and shortly after, they are dropped off at the foot of the shrine stairs. Katana Man informs Akane that he is temporarily unable to fight, while his comrades carry Denji. Suddenly, one of the comrades notices a crow and feels that something is amiss. Before they can comprehend what's happening, the man is killed on the spot. Alarmed, Akane contacts Team E and requests that Team C confirm Makima's demise. Unfortunately, the Team E member informs her that they have been unable to reach Team C. In a sudden turn of events, the member also falls prey to a crushing attack. Meanwhile, at the shrine, Makima has arrived with Michiko, Yutaro, and the convicts. To maintain secrecy, Makima has them all blindfolded, explaining that she reports directly to the chief cabinet secretary, and that only authorized personnel are allowed to know which devils she has contracts with. Makima approaches one of the convicts and commands him to say Shuzo Mishima. As he repeats the name, Makima performs a series of hand gestures. Suddenly, Mishima, one of Katana Man's comrades, is crushed to death, along with the convict. Katana Man orders another comrade, Takashi Inoue, to take Denji and flee in the car. However, as the second convict utters Inoue's name, Makima's hand gestures claim another victim from Katana Man's group. With the rest of the group in disarray, they try to flee, but Makima kills them one by one. She spares Katana Man and Akane and orders Michiko and Yutaro to remove their blindfolds. The sight that greets them is all the convicts lying lifeless on the ground. Makima explains that she has done what she could from that location and will now return to Tokyo. Akane speculates that Makima may be behind the killings. As she discusses this with Katana Man, they catch a glimpse of Kobeni in the distance. Earlier, an elderly woman had shot Hirokazu in the back of the neck. When Hirokazu turned around, the woman aimed at Kobeni, but shot him in the head instead. Kobeni clutches a knife and a radio transceiver, assuming they belong to the shooters. Akane sacrifices a nail to summon the Snake Devil's tail, but Kobeni evades it and leaps onto the Snake Devil. Katana Man tries to shoot her, but she slashes his arm as she approaches. She then grabs his gun and shoots him in the back. Akane picks up a gun too, but Kobani takes Denji and uses him as a shield before fleeing. Akane drags Katana Man into a van and drives off. Kobani apologizes to Denji for attempting to kill him last time, while holding onto him. She laughs and cries as she remembers the death of Hirokazu, and the killing of the granny with her own gun. Kobani blames herself for Hirokazu's death and believes her job is driving her crazy. She declares that she will tell Himino that she is quitting when she sees her. Makima, Michiko, and Yutaro arrive in Tokyo and are greeted by Madoka at the station. Makima expresses relief that he is still alive and inquires about the other survivors. Madoka informs her that Special Divisions 1, 2, 3, and 4 were attacked, resulting in the deaths of nearly all the humans. Madoka reveals that he received an order from the superiors stating that, due to a shortage of personnel, all 4 special divisions will merge into one, with Tokyo Special Division 4 now under Makima's leadership. Madoka then hands her an envelope containing his resignation letter, explaining that he felt things were becoming sinister in the special division and that he had to either quit or risk dying. As Makima prepares to depart, Madoka poses one last question, asking how much of this situation she had anticipated. Makima replies that she cannot discuss public safety's internal affairs with civilians and thanks him for his service. Yutaro and Michiko clarify that they are not joining Makima's division and are merely serving as advisors, returning to Kyoto in 1 week. Makima expresses regret, stating that it's a shame since there are many excellent restaurants in Tokyo. And with that, we conclude this episode.